Hey guys, Fahim Anwar here, and I'm on Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan. This is actually the first time we've ever met in person, so will sparks fly?
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
Hi there, welcome to Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan. I'm your cordial host, Jake Hogan. I'm very happy that you're here. It's going to be a great show this week. We have a very funny comedian named Fahim Anwar, and he is somebody I just came upon very recently at comedy club Largo here in LA, and he's on with some great people, and he was the standout of the night for me and my son, and we were just laughing hysterically at him and couldn't wait to see him. And I got a chance actually to see some of his work online because he has two amazing specials. One is called Hat Trick and the other one is called House Money. You should see both of them. I saw Hat Trick the other day. It was fantastic. Gonna see House Money tonight. It's gonna be great. You're gonna really enjoy it. And we're gonna talk about comedy and what it means to be a comedian and how hard it is to be a comedian and how interesting it is to be a comedian. I wanted to say that recently a friend and a hero of mine, Bob Newhart, just passed. And Bob Newhart was incredibly a wonderful comedian, obviously one of the great comedians of all time. But the thing that made him special was that he was also just a really good person. I was an actor on his show when I was 10 years old on the Bob Newhart show, and I got to see that you didn't have to be a diva asshole to be a star of a show. You could just do your work, be super nice, make a genial atmosphere, and that taught me so much about show business that I've kept with me my entire life. And Bob and his wife Ginny were two wonderful, wonderful people, and I owe them a lot in my life. So I'm sad they're gone, but I'm happy that they we're here, and I'm certainly happy that the comedy that Bob made is still here for us to watch, and that's going to be great. And so we're going to talk about comedy with Fahim Anwar right after this. Stay tuned.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
Thank you, Fahim, for being here.
Yeah.
This is the quickest a guest has ever been solicited and then placed on the show ever in the history. I think I called you yesterday or the day before saying, hey, would you ever consider doing the show?
Yeah.
And then a few hours later said, hey, can you do the show?
Yeah, it went from would you consider to I need you here tomorrow.
Right. So I'm sorry about that. I'm
No,
sorry
not
about
at all.
being pushy.
Come on.
But
filling a day. I love it.
now you come to us by way of Andy Gordon.
Yes.
Now,
love
how
it.
do you know Andy Gordon?
So I was writing on a show with him. I met him in the writer's room for United States of Al.
Okay.
That was on CBS for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, love Andy.
Right.
And then, he's been writing for so many shows
Yes.
that I loved growing up. I had no idea.
Right.
He's been in the game forever. So
Right.
like
He's the
Just
oldest.
Shoot Me,
Right.
News Radio, which I love.
Yeah, he's the oldest human being on the face of the earth. I think that's what we're both saying.
Well, that's what I learned because not about the oldest person,
Yeah.
but just writers having steady work.
Yeah.
Because I've always auditioned for stuff. I do stand-up. It's always been front of camera type thing, performer. And then there's just all these funny writers in a room, and they've just been working forever.
Yes.
So it's a steady ship and even money.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this is kind of where it's at. This is like a best kept secret.
The good news is that ended. So about 2 years ago, that ended.
Oh, so I can't get in?
No, it's the business is reconfiguring itself.
Right.
And so writing rooms have gotten smaller, staff's gotten smaller, less episodes. So
yeah, it's a streamer. We're doing 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be we're doing
pilot and the
Quibi
finale
2.0.
at the same time. They're filming at the same time.
Can you write 12 minutes of premium content?
Exactly.
We're doing Quibi.
What we need really is
Quibi
more
Plus.
tweets. If you can just
Yeah.
tweet about the show and not be on it. Whatever happened to that show? Why did it die so badly?
It was 2 seasons. That's not bad.
Oh, that's terrible.
Really? I
Yeah,
don't know.
Chuck Lorre
for
show?
me, I know.
A Chuck
but,
Lorre show? What kind of Chuck Lorre show only gets 2 seasons?
That's a good point.
You must have really sucked it up.
Yeah, it was my fault.
Okay.
I'll take the blame.
United States of Al.
United States of Al.
I don't know.
America wasn't ready for an Afghan interpreter living with a family
Right.
in the Midwest.
Okay.
We were ahead of its time.
Your family background is Afghan?
I go, this is over. This interview's
No,
over.
that's
You told me you were going to bring up my
No.
ethnic background. How dare you?
So-
I'm Cambodian
so-
on stage.
You grew up in Washington, though?
Yeah, Seattle. So
Okay.
grew up in Seattle. Parents born in Afghanistan.
Right.
Yeah, me and my brother
so
were born here.
Is the Afghani culture in the home? Did you grow up with a
A
lot
little
of that?
bit, yeah. But very American upbringing. But then, Afghan food and culturally, I know some Afghan
What's the
things.
Afghan treat that I should be eating that I don't
The
know I should be
treat?
eating?
I don't know about like
That's
candy.
Jewish food. Like I grew up with Ukrainian, my ancestors are Ukrainian. There is no Ukrainian treat.
There isn't?
It's dirt. Like it's just like a pile of dirt.
It's just dirt with sugar.
Yeah, this is like dirt and like the big, at Christmas time you get a beet.
Oh, that's
like
nice.
It's like something fantastic.
A
That's
beet?
the treat. So there's nothing great.
Well, there's a dish I like. It's called shirwa. That's like my favorite Afghan dish.
Yeah.
I guess it's sort of like a stew. It's really not even that elevated. It's kind of like peasant food, I suppose.
It's all peasant food.
Yeah. So you like tear up pita bread.
Right.
And then it's this broth, and then there's meat, and then like beef, and then potato and garbanzo beans.
That's
This is really
Irish,
warm and
that's
hearty.
an
I love
Irish
it.
dish. That is like basically the same thing.
I guess so.
Irish stew.
Yeah,
All right.
I would love that then.
I saw your act. I didn't see your act. I consequently saw your act on the YouTubes.
The YouTubes.
But I also saw you in person at Largo.
Yeah.
I thought you were really, really, really funny.
That's so nice. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the weird thing about stand-up is you just gigging around town. You know, sometimes I bounce to the Comedy Store. I'm at Largo, and there's just a show to do, and then you don't know who's in the crowd, because I've seen your pod. I actually enjoy it, you know? Yeah. So it was kind of really cool that there's this connective thread of Andy who's like, hey, my buddy Jay saw you at the show. I'm like, oh, he was at that?
Yeah, no, I fancy myself, since I was 8 years old, as somebody who is a connoisseur of comedians.
That's awesome.
I've been going to the Comedy Store and the Improv since I was 10.
Wow.
I've been seeing people, and over the course of time, I've lost track of some people, and I don't see as many people as I used to. So when I see a great comedian, I go, fantastic, that's great.
Also, Largo's interesting because I'm new to it.
Yeah.
It was always, I've been doing stand-up a long time, like 22 years, you know, and it's just been this cool kid venue. It's hard to get into, you know, unless you have an in.
It's a special club.
And I've just been like a club rat doing the store and like the Improv and the Factory.
Right.
And I just never had an in to Largo, but it was always this like storied place. Like, oh, I'd love to play it someday.
And the audience is cooler.
It's cooler.
Yeah, they're receptive.
They're receptive.
You can offer them morsels and they'll eat them, as opposed to people in clubs having drinks, waiting like entertain me.
Sure. Yeah, it's very warm.
Yeah.
The beats are a little different at Largo as opposed to like the Comedy Store.
Yeah. This show, as you know, because you're a great fan of the show, is about me talking to really interesting people about my problems.
Okay.
So my problem is that I fancy myself. I started out as being a stand-up comic.
A lot of writers, that's their path, huh? They start with
I'm
stand-up
thinking
and then
of trying it again.
Okay.
And my friend Larry Wilmore said, you got to. He didn't say it like that.
Sure.
He didn't say it like
You're like, but for brevity, that's the way he said it.
He said, you got to.
I'm paraphrasing, but he said,
yeah.
you got to.
I realized when I said you got to, and it's Larry Wilmore, he's black. It almost sounds like I'm doing an imitation of a black man. I'm not. It was supposed to be authentic, enthusiastic.
Yes.
He
said it with gusto.
He said specifically, hey, Jay, you gots to. No, he didn't say that. He
Hey,
said,
you jive turkey.
Right,
You know
you
what I've
gotta.
been thinking
He
about?
said you got
you
to.
gots to get into stand-up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I go back, and I have on my phone the little
Yeah, it never
jokes
goes away. You're always thinking of
that
things.
I'm thinking of jokes that could be jokes and areas that could be areas and all that kind of stuff. So, but then I was thinking, like, I don't know the territory anymore. I don't know what it is.
It's tough when you've been out of it for a while because there's a progression within stand-up and the scene.
I stopped doing it when I was 16, so I've been out of it for a while.
You go to the same open mic.
Yeah.
You go, oh, it's not a pizza place anymore. It's a furniture store.
Right.
And do they still do a mic at the furniture store?
I've done stand-up at a deli.
I've done stand-up everywhere.
Yeah, it's
especially being in LA for a long time. I'll just be driving around town and it'll be like a dog washing place. I'll be like, oh, I did this when this was an ice cream parlor.
Right.
Oh, this Tower Records. I used to blah, blah, blah.
And you started, I read your bio, you started out as an engineer.
Yeah.
And for Boeing?
For Boeing. When things were
You
good.
needed to stay.
When things were good.
You needed to stay. They have some issues.
I mean, I like to joke that the reason the planes are falling out of the sky and all that is because I went to pursue comedy.
That's right.
And I go, look, this is my dream.
Right.
So you can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs.
You decided to save lives with your comedy.
With my comedy.
But let other people die with your
the plane
bad
thing.
engineering.
Yeah. No, I mean the romantic version because people
Yeah.
hear that I worked at Boeing and then do stand-up.
By the way, working at Boeing does not sound all that romantic, but okay.
Well, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound romantic, but the pivot into stand-up sounds romantic because I think a lot of people work a job they don't enjoy, and then to see someone like doing the arts after something as day jobby as that is romantic. But that's not the way it actually happened. It wasn't like I was working at Boeing and I snapped my pencil and I'm like, fuck this. I'm a star, baby. And I just drove and I just drive to the comedy store and I just take the mic from whoever's on stage. And I'm like, you guys ever notice this? And then it was like, that's not it.
Wouldn't it be great to go back and then snap the pencil and say, fuck this, I'm a star, baby? I mean, that's actually
like get my
cool.
job back.
Yeah, just to do it.
Live out the fantasy.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty awesome. Fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just really a premeditated version of doing stand-up. So like, I knew I wanted to do it very young. I think I graduated high school and I knew I wanted to do it. So that summer I started going to the comedy clubs in downtown Seattle. And then I had to go to college because my parents were going to pay for it.
Right.
And I could only do certain degrees that they would pay for because I wanted to do theater. And my dad's very old school. And he's like,
what does he do?
He's an engineer at Boeing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And what does your mom do?
She's in it. No, I'm just kidding. She was a nurse for a long time, and then now she does hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he had a firm idea that you were going to be an engineer at Boeing.
Or just he wanted me to be a doctor. That's the whole trope and everything, like doctor, lawyer.
Right.
Engineer was the lowest that I could do and have them still pay for college.
Right.
So I'm like, I guess I'll do that. And I'll just do stand-up while I do mechanical engineering at UW.
Right.
So it was all, and then I knew that once I got a degree, I would just apply to jobs to get as close to Hollywood as I could. And then finally I graduated and I applied to a bunch of jobs. And then I got a job at Boeing, and then I would drive up and do stand-up at night. So I'd work by day in my cubicle, punch out, and then drive up 45 minutes to the comedy store.
But you used to work by day. You were writing bits at your desk at Boeing. Come on, let's be honest.
Like I didn't work on a plane at all. For 4 years. You
got some stuff done. You got some stuff done.
It was all plane material. You notice these rivets? They don't hold the stress that they should.
So how disappointed is your father that you're a comedy
pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
But he's coming around. I mean, I think my family kind of...
But your mother's very supportive, but your father's...
They all turned at different times.
Okay.
My brother's always been on board. He's loved it from the jump. And then my mom was and it's from a place of love because they just don't want their kids to eat out of a dumpster.
Sure.
You know, so I understand it.
My dad told me not to be a writer.
Really?
And he's a writer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But it may be because I'm a terrible writer. I don't know.
He's like, I've seen your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. He did. He actually read a script. I showed him a script and they said, I want to be a writer. He said, you know.
He gives you the same scrutiny as like a showrunner would today.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, it's wonky in Act 2.
Right. No, I got it. He didn't like it.
Your characters aren't fleshed out.
Yeah.
So my mom, she came around when I took her to a premiere. I was in this Tina Fey movie a little bit, like Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I have a small role in that.
Right.
So I got to go to the premiere in New York and I brought my mom. And then it became very real to my mom when she's on the red carpet and she's meeting Tina Fey and Margo Robbie.
Right.
And then she's staying in a nice hotel. So that experience
that turned her
because it became tangible. It became real. It wasn't this
pie in the sky.
Pie in the sky. Things don't happen.
Sure.
And then my dad, he can't be enchanted by that stuff. He just understands money, things, security, stability. So he actually didn't come around until I got that CBS writing job.
Okay.
Because that had shades of like legitimate work.
People...
I would drive to a place.
Right.
You know, I drive to a place. I have a parking spot. There's a break room.
Sure.
I sit in a computer chair. I have an office.
There's a product at the end
There's
of
a product at the end. Like you go into a building for 8 to 10 hours and you leave.
Right.
And my dad can wrap his head around that.
Right.
Going to Chuckle Huts and flying to, you know, Indianapolis and what like that's
I would say Margo Robbie's pretty impressive. If you can introduce your dad to Margo Robbie.
Yeah, I don't know if he even knows. My dad tunes into certain. He's like, I love Lady Gaga.
Okay.
I would never peg my dad for being a huge like monster. Is that
he was born this way? He was born that way. That's just how he is. He loves it.
Sometimes your parents surprise you. Like my mom, I remember growing up as a kid. She loved Martin. We would watch that show. I was a little kid, and my mom, she just loved Martin Lawrence's sitcom.
Just loved him because she recognized early his psychosis and wanted to watch him slowly and surely fall apart in front of your big eyes. Yeah, I understand.
It was a great show.
Yes.
But I wouldn't think my Afghan mom would like resonate so much with Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or my dad, Lady Gaga.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
What's going on now in stand-up that is great.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a bit of a renaissance going on in stand-up. And what's really shitty?
Oh, what's great and what's
great?
shitty? Okay, what I think is great can be deemed as shitty to some comedians.
All right.
Because there's been a huge shift. Back in the day, there was a blueprint for ascending in stand-up comedy.
Right.
You just did your act. You didn't even need to write that much. You kind of just had a great act, and if it was if it was presented the right way, you were on your way.
Right.
You know, you had a half hour, you had an hour, you put on Comedy Central, you're on.
And on your way means you'll get booked for other things.
Kind
you might
of.
get your own sitcom.
Just
Like
attention
what?
was
Yeah.
kind of focused on these specific platforms. You only had Comedy Central, you had Netflix. That's pretty much it. So, and then there was a lot of eyeballs on it. And then once that kind of hit, you were just on track to keep on ascending as a stand-up. Everything is so fractured now. Attention is like no one really watches straight up Comedy Central. Nobody really like even Netflix is getting a little diluted with their specials. If you got in early, it was great for your career. Like an Eliza or a Tom Segura or people who got on the ground floor.
Right.
So now everything is just so fractured in the stand-up comedy space, and we're kind of in a clip economy now. So it's counterintuitive where
You're TikToking. And
less is more.
Right.
So you're reaching people 30 seconds at a time, a minute at a time. Clips.
Yes.
Clips are the name of the game.
Right.
So unless you are logging a bunch of sets and you're throwing captions on your stuff and putting it on TikTok, putting it on IG Reels or YouTube Shorts, if you're not doing that, it's kind of like you don't have a special or you don't. That's how you're reaching people nowadays.
And that branding then shows up in terms of people seeing you at a show?
Well, that moves tickets now, especially if you aren't the person Netflix picks or HBO. It's twofold. Like, if you aren't the person they're picking, then you need to reach people. Well, it also means less too. You know what I mean? So not everybody gets picked, and then also if you do get picked, it doesn't have the impact that it once did maybe 5 years ago.
Being picked, you're saying by a network, by being
just
picked
being
by
one
whom?
of the guys that the guys or girls that they want on the platform and give a special to, and like give the billboard treatment and kind of push the special.
The Jewish media runners.
You said it. I don't know. I was being pretty good at dancing around it.
I just want to be super clear.
No, whoever's in charge.
Right, the Jewish media runners. I get it.
You're just trying to get me canceled.
It's all right.
Look, you're saying
fine. No, it's fine.
It's just hard to get picked, number one, and then also if you do get picked, it means less than it did years ago.
Okay.
Because it was the only place to be seen. So there's been this shift to just embrace digital, direct to consumer with clips and stuff, and YouTube specials, and so you just have to. You have to produce more of your own content. Whereas before you would just show up to a place and they would take the lens caps off and then you would leave and get a coffee.
Right.
So much was done for you. Now you have to wear a lot of hats as a stand-up if you want to break through.
Do you have a guy or a person?
I have a lot of hats, yeah.
But do you have somebody filming you at concerts?
Well, what the thing is, it's pretty easy to do on your own even. I do it on my own a lot too. When I go on tour, I just have a camera that I take with me. I put it on sticks in the back. I tap into the soundboard to get my audio.
Sticks is a tripod.
It's lingo in the biz.
Professional.
I know there's a lot of laymen who watch your pod and aren't familiar with Hollywood. Like they've never written on a CBS show like me or you, I believe.
Yes. I used to have a bipod and that did not work not nearly as well.
How about a monopod? My first mistake, I had a monopod and then I just left it and it tipped over.
Terrible.
It needed more legs.
It needed more. 3.
Some people go with a quad pod.
That's fine.
I think not, but I think
it's extra.
You don't need that extra leg.
Well, you're an engineer. You would know that right away.
You think I would know. This is pre-Boeing, so I didn't know these things.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you record yourself from the side.
Myself.
How do you know you're in the frame? How do you know?
You set it up wide.
Okay.
All right. You know, and you say you.
Don't you want to see the interaction, the crowd work?
Well, that's okay. That's next level. Oh man, we have so much to talk about stand up, dude. Oh man. So so I set up. Since I'm so lazy as a writer, I'm thinking just crowd work. I'm just going to do crowd work. You know, it's interesting. It's it might benefit. Right now, we're in a crowd work renaissance. You don't burn material when you post crowd work, and also people love it. They do. You're talking like a comedy nerd, and I'm the same way too. It's kind of an easy party trick if you've been doing stand up.
Sure.
But crowds love it because it feels in the moment, not rehearsed. This is just for us. This is ethereal. It's bespoke comedy,
Right.
You know,
Right.
and it's exciting because I think part of the appeal of stand-up is people are like, oh, that's terrifying. I could never do that.
Right.
And that's with a guy with an act.
Right.
So take away the act.
Right.
This is like free soloing, you know,
Right.
like holy shit, it's even more exciting.
Sure. I mean,
but if you ask enough questions to an audience, something funny is going to happen. And with editing,
right.
but it's a party trick, but the algorithm loves it.
Right.
And the algorithm is people.
But then you're like Matt Rife. You're that guy.
You're huge though. But like,
but
I'll be Rant Rife.
I know.
Like, but then you're going to be selling out fucking giant 40,000 seat arenas and being in movies and stuff. You don't want that.
Isn't he just bad?
And being chiseled. And,
you don't have to say he's bad. I can say he's bad. He's not very good. I saw his special. I saw the thing. Like,
Here's
I
the thing.
I saw his clips.
Matt's a good kid, you know, like I remember him coming up through the scene and he's been at it for a while.
Yep.
I think his crowd work is at this moment surpasses his written material currently.
Right.
I think he shines with his crowd work.
Right.
And I think that's how he got really popular. And that's what his fans love the most about
But
him.
it's like going to a concert and having like the guy, his patter. I loved the rock star's patter. Oh my God. Hated the songs, but between the songs, his patter was so great.
I would love to be like on a lineup or something and all I do is patter and I never play.
Hello,
like,
Los Angeles.
I come out, I have a guitar and everything, and then I just do patter for like 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Like, all right, that's our time.
Right, exactly.
Take it. But the patter was fucking great.
You having a good time tonight? Woo! Back and forth.
Yeah. I have this other thought too, because like I'm friends with the Roots.
Yes.
Just a little name drop there. I do band
all
drops.
Of them?
There's
There's got to be one guy in the Roots you hate.
Three of the Roots. I like everybody but one guy. And I'm like, you know who you are.
One of the dudes of the Roots.
You know who you are.
hate.
I just like you.
Yeah.
No, they're all great.
Okay.
But I was watching their concert. Such a great show. There's a tuba player and everything. There's just so many people on stage, and they're all talented musicians. I haven't asked them this, but it's my guilty pleasure dream. I would love to be able to do a gig with them where I have sunglasses and I have a saxophone, and I just never play it for the whole concert, and just see if anybody keys in on it.
Right.
Because everyone else is playing shit, but if I'm just like vibing,
warming
for
up
like 2 hours,
right, cleaning out the spit valve.
No, not even. I'm just like vibing, but I never hop on the reed.
I would want to see you clean out the saxophone.
I'm just doing saxophone maintenance the whole show.
The whole time.
I have like a jeweler's loop and I'm looking at the reed and
how they're warming up. They put their mouth on and they do the key, but they're not playing. They're not playing. They're just testing it out. Just be that guy.
Yeah,
that'd be
I would
awesome.
love. Maybe I'll float it by Questlove.
But crowd work seems like such a cheat to me. Like the hard part about being a comic
is writing great
really
bits.
great material, and then the sad part about it is it only lasts until everybody's seen it, and then you got to come up with new great material.
Yeah, but I like how bulletproof material is. When you have a great bit, it feels like money in the bank, or a bullet in the clip, or whatever it is. It's tangible.
Why do you Afghanis always go to the bullet?
We love war. We love. Hey, ask the U.S., man. Ask Russia.
I know.
We don't want to be this good at war, but you guys keep on popping in.
Yeah.
But it's just a tangible thing, Like I can take these jokes and do them in different cities and get the same results.
Right.
Crowd work is fun. It's in the moment, but it's not always good. It's not transferable.
Right.
And also this thing has happened too, where people who are posting a lot of crowd work, a lot of young comedians see that as sort of a quick route because it gets populated. You can grow very quickly on social with crowd work because there's a bit of a boom happening. When they do their live shows on the road, people are just shouting shit out because that's what they think it is. They have
an invitation to be the show.
That's what's been advertised. Yeah. So you've trained them to kind of think this is what it is. So why wouldn't they?
Sure.
So you can't do your bit. They're trying to do their bits, but people are like, hey, I'm my girlfriend. Talk about her shirt.
What's your best crowd stopper? What is your best heckler?
Well, I don't stop. It depends. I always can tell their intention and their heart. If they mean well, I can judo them and have a good time and something fun will happen. But if they're malicious, that's a different thing.
But if you are playing with them, does that encourage more people to interrupt you?
No, because there's a way of kind of having fun in the moment and then slipping back into your material. And then it's not perceived as an invitation to keep on like jumping in. It's weird.
Yeah.
People always say, what is your influences? Like, who inspired you with stand-up? And stand-up didn't come till much later. But I grew up on The Simpsons.
Okay.
Which,
I
is
had
very
something
cool
to do
for
with.
me.
Sure.
Yes. The Simpsons, SNL, and Late Night Conan after Tonight Show.
Right.
Those three things.
Right.
I'm not who I am without those things. Like comedically, I grew up with that, and those were my teachers.
I get that. Absolutely. I mean,
And what great teachers, you know what I mean? The Simpsons and those formative years.
Yeah. We're joke machines. With
But
a
you
lot
guys
of
are
jokes.
high level, you know what I mean? Like you're indirectly getting this masterclass of comedy through this television show.
Right.
So I'm so grateful that I was able to grow up with that show.
I'm glad you did. That was a great, interesting, crazy thing that The Simpsons created, and we leaned heavily into what we learned from Mad Magazine and from Looney Tunes and from a million other things. But that's before your time.
Sure.
That's before your time.
But whatever you guys gleaned from that,
Right.
my generation got to get it from you guys.
But we had George Carlin, and we had Steve Martin and Bob Newhart and Robin Williams and Robert Klein and all those, Michael Keaton was a funny stand-up, and like there's a million. Dave Letterman was a great
he
stand-up.
has his neon in the OR because in the original room at the Comedy Store, there's really cool neons all over the wall of like famous comedians, and Michael Keaton has one.
He's my dream guest.
Oh, how
If he was here right now, I'd kick your ass out.
Immediately.
Immediately.
You're like, I wish Michael Keaton was in that chair.
What I wouldn't
Anyways,
give.
so stand up.
A lot of my Afghan questions would not work with Michael Keaton, though.
Can't ask this Batman
Yeah,
one.
no,
Can't ask
shit,
this
all right,
one.
yeah.
I'm in the wrong
he was
document.
great. I knew him a little bit.
Oh, that's
I met him. He
cool.
was great. But this many years ago, and I was just a kid who just bugged him. I was one of those kids.
He must have loved it though.
No, I don't know. What would you say you probably don't have this down, but what your comedy persona is?
I guess just silly, like absurd, smart, silly.
Yep.
I would say
That's
why I loved Conan so much too. I mean, I put it past tense. I love Conan so much.
Yeah. Like that's one of the things that I have to figure out too is a comedy persona. Like I don't know people want you to be authentic.
Yes.
They want you to know that you're a real person there, but they also kind of want to know your MO, your style. There's something about that they can latch on to say, if I'm going to go see Jake Hogan, I'm going to get this kind of show.
I get this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is something I've observed just doing stand-up for a while, like the proclivity of audiences. We love like characters. We love conveying a lot of information quickly.
Yeah.
So if someone has a weird voice and a weird look or just a definitive look, I think people just like knowing what it is quickly, and then they can laugh.
Right. They want to know who you are.
If they're trying to feel you out for the first minute or two,
right,
it's just more work you have to do as a stand-up.
Right. So how do you break the ice with an audience?
Well, it's tough. Like I think my character or my persona is like my brain and my material and my writing. So that's it's not as immediate as like if I'm the guy who wears a fedora and is like, how you guys doing? You're like, all right, I know this guy.
Right.
Or like, hey guys.
But I hate that guy.
Hey guys,
I know that guy, but I hate that guy.
Chipotle today? Like already you're
Right.
like, okay, this is interesting.
Right.
I can put it in a box like that.
Right.
And then if you have a character, a well-defined character like that, and you have good jokes, it's just gasoline on a fire. But if you talk kind of regular,
Right.
it takes a while for the ideas to seep into the audience and then them warm over.
So I should put on a funny hat
and a funny voice. My voice.
Hi, everybody.
My 22 years of experience doing stand-up is get a weird hat and talk weird.
A funny voice. And maybe some props.
I was driving here and
Right.
has this ever you're at Cold Stone and they ring the bell? Why?
So if I was like both Bobcat and Emo Phillips, but to combine
all the voices
into one, all the voices. I don't want to go.
They're
And
battling.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when I was coming up, there was like the alt scene and stuff and being very genuine and authentic. And then everyone thought like, oh, can you believe all the stuff they did in the 80s? Everyone wore weird blazers and but then it's not an era thing. It's a human thing because you are noticing that with even some comedians of like some of my peers, they'll like wear the same thing.
Yeah.
They will have just a certain look.
I did that. I decided to brand myself. So originally I was a very thin, handsome guy.
And you're going the other way.
I gained 100 pounds and I dyed my hair gray. Now I'm this. Now I'm this. But people know this.
Eating a slice, you're like, I'm preparing for for a set tonight.
Exactly.
I'm preparing for a role.
So that's my brand. My brand is sort of out of shape, fat old guy.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
All right. So should I, not knowing anything really about me,
Uh-huh.
should I pursue this dream of stand-up? Is it worth it? Will I, at the end of the day, say, because stand-ups are in control completely of their own thing. It's like novel writers or people who write everything. You
don't need permission, which is kind of liberating, especially on your side of it. And I've tasted it doing generals and like pitching shows. There are so many things outside of your control.
Right.
There's so much work for maybe that doesn't exist with stand-up, which is why I gravitate towards it, why I love it. If I think of something, I get to do it. I get the job. It's on its feet. So what you're saying? Should you do it?
Should I pursue this, or is it full? Is there a glut?
It depends, though. Here's the thing. What do you want out of it? What is your goal? What is
Kevin Hart? I want to be Kevin Hart. Is that okay?
Then let me shut this down immediately. Yeah.
Not happening?
Like, this is how I realize how delusional you are.
Yeah.
Like, you've hit it pretty well the whole pod.
Right.
And you go, I want to be like beyond Kevin Hart. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, just keep writing.
Right.
Hit the mics.
Did you see Celine Dion at the opening ceremony?
I almost cried.
Yeah.
I
want to be that. That's I'm hoping my stand-up comedy. I want to
bring people to tears.
Bring people to tears at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh my God.
Can I do that?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
I don't know how that would happen.
You're being politic. You don't have.
I'm being political.
Yeah,
well, I want to be VP for one.
Which one? Which candidate is VP?
I'll go. You think I have morals? I don't give a shit.
All right. Well, now it's time for question time.
Okay.
It's question time.
They said, who are your heroes?
I thought it was gonna be who are you?
No, not who are you. They've seen the clips.
Well,
you've inundated them with clips
really?
of you. Oh my God,
that's true.
So who are your heroes? So not just comedy heroes, I guess, but because I already asked that. But who are your heroes?
Michael Jackson is a big one.
Okay.
Because he was like the first.
That's how he dealt with children.
I love the way.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
More about the singing and dancing.
Yeah, okay.
I kind of was more honed in on that.
You know that I knew Michael Jackson.
No,
yes,
for real?
Honest to God. Honest to God.
Wow. Wait.
Not
what?
only
How? What's the story?
So as you know, we're both Encino kids. Michael Jackson lived on Havenhurst, which is a street where Gelson's is, Ventura and Gelson's.
Oh, okay.
And he used to live there. So we were about the same age. He's a little older than me, but I used to see him all the time at Gelson's and Mike's Pizza, and there was a little pizza place that we used to hang out. And at one point, my father, who's a writer producer, produced the Jacksons summer show.
Whoa.
And so they came over to our house to visit, and the whole family. And my grandmother Nana Chicky used to talk with Tito a lot, and I used to talk with Michael sometimes, but more Randy. Yeah, honestly, than Michael.
Like, I'm more of a Randy guy.
So Randy and I were closer in age, and Michael was painfully shy, shy. But then when he came to do The Simpsons, I was there and helped direct him. And
it's so crazy that you are a part of these monumental things in my life. These are just like anecdotal stories that you have.
Yeah, that's just part of my life. It's I'm
insane.
I have a thing on Twitter I do, which is Jake Hogan's Celebrity Roundup, where I asked people on Twitter just to name a celebrity, and I'll see if I've somehow interacted with them in my life. And it turns out I've interacted with a lot of celebrities. Shockingly, a shocking number. If you have to name a person who was alive from 1965 until now.
Cisco.
The thong song?
Yeah.
That's Cisco?
Yeah.
He's my brother-in-law. No, I'm joking. I have no interactions with
Cisco. You just
Cisco.
pull out a thong.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, what do you think? What?
No, Cisco.
Come on in,
all right.
Cisco.
All right. So who are your?
Oh yeah, Michael Jackson was just performance-wise, I guess, because like I liked dance before comedy. That was my first foray into performing. Right. I would dance like Michael Jackson at talent shows and stuff. I loved his music videos.
He was an artist.
Yeah, he was the biggest. Yeah. There will never be anything like that because, again, like everything is so fractured now.
Right.
But things were so limited.
Right.
I'll wait for the Kawasaki.
That's all right.
An ambulance, now Kawasaki.
Right.
I can't work like this.
I can't work in a city.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, he was amazing. He was amazing. I mean, he was a weird ass dude.
Yes.
Weird
dude. But on stage, nothing like it.
Yeah, and
that level of dancing, that level of singing.
Yeah.
And so I would just rewind the tape. I would slow motion.
Yeah.
I would try to learn how to dance. So my first talent is dancing. And then comedy came later. And I think that's maybe why I'm physical, because I'm like comfortable in my body.
Right.
And I don't feel silly.
That's what you and I are exactly the same. We're so
I don't need to
comfortable in our
tell
bodies.
You get
exactly.
it.
You know, I just, like dance is like my second language.
You're a vessel. You don't think about what you're doing.
Right.
You're doing it.
Are you a kind of guy who spent time in the club? You went to
That's
dance
the
club?
weird thing is I love music and I love dancing so much, but it was always this private thing.
I see.
I would never go to a nightclub. I actually hated nightclubs.
You're a private dancer.
I'm a private dancer.
Okay.
I would just dance in my room.
Yes.
I would look at my shadow and dance. I would
Right.
dance in a mirror.
If I could dance, I hated going to the clubs because you couldn't speak, and that was my only superpower, was talking and making jokes.
Yeah.
And then, but if I could dance, I could attract girls by dancing, I think.
I guess, but I've always had this thought where people have this misconception that, oh, you can dance and you must pick up so many chicks. But to execute that are all weird scenarios, right? I go to the club with my buddy and I just me and him start dancing.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Ah, that's all right.
And
In
it's
LA,
kinda
that's
weird.
fine.
You know, in LA.
Yeah.
But, elsewhere in a
Right.
different city, it's kind of like, okay, me and my buddy are just going hard.
Right.
That's not super
Mhm.
attractive.
Right.
And then do I break off and I'm just by myself dancing really hard?
Dance
That's
alone.
unattractive.
Dancing alone.
Dancing alone is weird.
I don't know. I think some girls like it. Some girls might
no,
join.
it's like Ted Bundy who can move. Right?
All right, maybe.
So those are the only two options. The only way it works, I think, and this is like a bank heist, it's too gross to be this premeditated, but is to get a girlfriend, like a pal.
Right.
You go together.
Right.
And you dance,
Right.
and then you kind of break off and be like, oh, that's just my friend.
What's wrong with that?
and-
That seems like a great plan.
I guess.
Why is
But
that
then
too premeditated? I'm in.
now I'm hiring a girl
That's
to
great.
pretend to be my girlfriend for the first 10 minutes
They have-
before she breaks off like
They
a booster
have those
rocket.
dance prostitutes that just come out.
They
and
have
help-
them?
Yes, yeah.
Where
It's
are
just-
they?
Yeah, I think
They're in the
on
back
the boulevard.
pages?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like, need a dancer.
Exactly. Does back pages exist? Didn't they shut that thing down? They shut it
I'm a
down.
purist. I don't go to Craigslist. I need to see it on a page.
I understand.
I don't trust it if it's a hyperlink.
Paper.
I need a number
Right.
and a paper cut.
No, you're old school.
I'm old school.
All right, this is now time for listener mail.
Now it's time for listener mail.
Dear Jay and guest, that's you.
Hey, that's me. I'm
Yeah.
guest.
What are your biggest hopes and darkest fears for the future? How are you working to make it the best future you can be? Signed, Lonnie.
Biggest hopes
Yeah.
and darkest fears.
Darkest fears. That's the big questions.
Biggest hopes is to keep on ascending as a stand-up, just to maybe become more of a recognizable stand-up and brand. I don't need to be Kevin Hart or anything, but just to maybe get a special on a streamer or people, because
Right.
I'm doing YouTube specials, the last two I've done,
Right.
just to kind of be on the pace of like a Hannibal or a Pete Holmes or like a Burr eventually. I mean Burr, so I put him up there. But to be a well-known or like a Normand or a Sam, some of these guys, my contemporaries, you know,
Right.
that I would love to kind of get to a place like that. That's the hopes.
Right.
And I think the darkest fears is as you live life, looking back and being like, did I not maximize? Did I not do everything I could have when it's too late? You know?
Yeah.
So I try to do it in the moment.
Right. But I mean, you're never
but
going
that is a fear that like, say when I'm like 60 or 50, I'm like, I could have done this and I could have done more.
Right. But I mean, that's inevitable. You can't do everything. You'll not be able to live
I'm trying my best.
everything. What you can do is live in this moment and then be as proactive as you can be and see where it takes
Make
you.
as many clips as you can.
Oh, God, you got to clip it out. You got to clip. You can make clips from this. We'll send you the.
Am I allowed
yeah,
to?
we're gonna send you.
There's no cease and desist?
No. We're gonna force you to make 400 clips. Of
Oh,
this.
that's so many.
Yes, that's a
They're
lot.
all 2 seconds long.
Yes. Okay, so that's career.
That's
You're
career.
totally career oriented.
I know.
What's-
I have been for a long time.
What's going on? What about life? What about life?
I guess.
What about the world? Are you making the world a better place? I'm not, but I'm asking you. You should.
You're like, not for me. Personally,
not for me.
But you,
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
changing
No,
the
I
world
don't.
on you.
No, I mean, it's great to be directed. I mean, I think it's great that you have a focus and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, but you shouldn't leave. That might be the regret I see coming down the pike is
You might
like,
be right.
how's my personal life? What's going on in my world?
I think maybe have more of a balance now.
Yes.
Like I'm allowed to have more of a balance.
Sure.
It was okay to do what I was doing to kind of set myself up for where I'm at now.
Right.
But
And by balance, I mean more road pussy. That's the main thing.
at a certain cities in the U.S. is so big and it can get so remote that you
Yeah.
just say, I live in L.A.
Right.
And it's like you're Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly.
Just you living in a city like, golly, he lives in L.A.
Right.
And you've done nothing.
Right.
You've just said a city.
I want to do a stand-up set in Seguin, Texas, where they've never seen a stand-up comedian. It's like, and be the king. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
I just picture people in cowboy hats and just like looking at you like this. That's all the
Right,
attention
exactly.
they give you, and then back to their conversation.
But I want the hat nod. I want that.
No,
you know.
you're not gonna get
No,
it.
no, it's
no.
just the look.
It's just
There's the look and a spit from the chewing tobacco.
yeah. Maybe they got a Zin.
Yeah, maybe.
Because those are in now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Zins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're little pouches.
Okay. Still get cancer though, right?
I believe so.
Oh, thank God.
That's the Zin promise. Same great
Right,
tobacco, same great cancer,
Right.
less of the mess. Zin.
That's a little improvement.
Same hole in your jaw. Same rush. Same robo voice box. Zin. Step into a Zin.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, okay. So now we have the moment of joy. This is
I've already
moment
had
of
it.
joy.
This has been fantastic.
A moment of joy.
It's very simple and very basic. There's really nothing I love more than going to a diner and sitting in a booth, having breakfast and coffee, and just chilling in that booth and listening to Spotify and reading the news on the internet. And just, I treat it like a WeWork.
Okay.
There's nothing I love more than melting in a booth at a diner, unlimited refills of coffee,
Right.
and just letting my mind kind of zip around, get caught up on the day, start my day that way.
How long do you allow yourself to sit there?
To the point where I'm nervous, like I can feel this energy of like, this guy's been here for a while.
Right. Yeah.
But I'll tip handsomely if I've been there.
That's good.
I'll tip like rent prices.
Okay.
If I've
Right.
been there for like
let's say-
4 hours or
right.
something.
You
Yeah.
talk to the waitress and say, I know I'm taking your table, but
I won't verbally say I know, sorry, but maybe it's just in my head that I feel like I've been there a long time.
keep ordering the most expensive, like another steak and eggs, please.
Yeah, another round of eggs.
Right.
They go,
More
I love
eggs.
this guy.
Yes, yeah, so that they get something. That's good. That's a lovely thing.
Yeah, and I
That's on a Sunday or a Monday or any day of the week.
Any day I'm free. You know, it's
Okay.
not every day because that feels gluttonous, but maybe like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I just have my AirPods in, and I just love scouring Spotify for new music.
Right.
I love that too.
Who are you listening to?
I just get served up these songs. The algorithm's pretty good with Spotify, so every Monday and Friday, they just kind of know your tastes, and then I sift through this playlist that's curated for you.
New Music Friday. I know
Yeah,
about new music. But what's Monday?
Yeah, Monday is Discover Weekly.
Okay, all right.
So add that to your list.
Okay, all right.
And then I'll cherry pick songs from those playlists and add it to my playlist.
What kind of music are you listening to?
It's like dancey. I like dancey and upbeat, like indie dance and like new disco and house.
Right, okay.
Like Chromeo, if it could be an entry point to kind of like the genre that I like.
It's not going to be an entry point for me. I don't
Oh,
know.
really? You don't know Chromeo?
No.
Oh,
That
they're
is-
great. Check out Chromeo.
Chromeo. Okay. I got to go. I'll check it out.
Please. After we do this,
yes.
throw on some Chromeo.
All right. And then dance alone in my room?
Dance alone in your room.
Okay.
And then send me a video. And I'll give you a sample.
All right. All right. I would like to, I will check out Chromeo.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of music. I don't, generally speaking, it lays more sort of pop music. And
We're in a pop renaissance.
Yes,
I had
yeah.
this thought the other day that like when it comes to pop female divas, we are in a gold rush.
Yeah.
And I think we're too close to it to recognize that the era we're in. We have Ariana Grande.
Right.
We have Sabrina Carpenter. Taylor Swift, we could throw her in there.
Sure.
Charlie XCX, is
Right.
that what it is?
Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
The Gaga.
Gaga, come on, Legacy, Gaga's there.
Right.
Yeah, it's really exciting time. And
Yeah.
it's good stuff. Beyonce.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm not some elitist guy. This is like
Right.
revolutionary pop. We're
Sure.
in.
No, I think it's a good time to be. It's a shitty time to be in the music industry, but it's a good time to be.
It depends who you
a
are. It's
Giant
great.
diva.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
a giant star,
If you're a
it's
giant star.
fantastic.
It's the same thing as in comedy or anything else. Like, if you're a giant star, it's fantastic.
Yeah, you're immune to everything.
Right. And if you're not, you're sort of carving out your life and figuring out how to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
This was
me.
the greatest Monday I could ever
Come on.
possibly
Same
conceive of.
here. I'm glad it was a quick turnaround time. We got to do
Yeah.
it.
And because I had given, if I had time to think about it, I would have said no.
Oh,
This
he
guy,
would have
no,
rescinded.
Yeah,
the-
rescinded. Like, what did I do? This terrible mistake. But now I'm totally
yeah,
in.
you're like he's already on his way.
I'm
He came all the way from Tarzana.
Fahim Anwar, you're awesome.
Thank you,
And
man.
I'm
Ditto.
so glad that I got to see you at Largo and sort of like added you to the retinue of
Oh,
great
wow. I'm
comedians
so
that I love.
honored.
So it's
Because
basically
I love your work and everything you've been a part of. So
it's you and the Dice Man. That's it. That's the
it?
only
That's
people
the
I
company.
care about. No, not the Dice Man. But no, this is fantastic, and thank you for being here, and
Thank
thank
you for having
you,
me.
the audience. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being at Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan. Please write me at dbawjk@gmail.com if you have any questions for me or for my guests. You know, I can forward stuff to this
Oh,
guy.
yeah, please.
Yeah, and you don't be alone. Spend some time with somebody in person. Have a conversation. Get to know someone. It's fun to meet new friends. It's great. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Don't be alone.